how technology has advanced in music. Very lucky to have four great students with us tonight. If you'd like to introduce yourselves, we have James.
I'm James.
Okay, we've got Dipali.
Hello, I'm Dipali. I study BSc Music Technology.
And we've got Mia.
Hi guys, I'm Mia and I also study the BSc Music Technology.
And we've got Oyen.
Hi, I'm Oyen and I also study the BSc Music Technology course.
Okay, so my name's Izzy McLachlan. I'm the course lead for the BSc degrees in Sound Engineering Production that James does, and also Music Technology. So I'm just going to start by giving you a little bit of an introduction to how technology has advanced in music. We only have an hour, so it'll be difficult. I'm only going to give you a couple of minutes on that because I think the most important thing is that we get the students to tell you their stories about how they got here, what they've done since they've got here, and maybe what they're thinking about doing next. But yeah, I just thought it was worth kind of thinking about how technology has advanced in music. And it has advanced a lot, you know, over the years. I do lectures in musical acoustics, so you know we think all the way back to when sound started being made. Never mind when sound started being recording. But I guess the big things that have happened recently are in production technologies. So everything from microphones to digital recording. When I started recording, I started recording on 4-track cassette when I was a kid. So I was about 12, and that was really expensive if you wanted to be able to record more than 4 channels at a time. Whereas now, you know, you can record 48 channels or whatever on a laptop. It's just not a problem anymore. So so that has changed so much. Things have got a lot more accessible and got a lot cheaper, but the level of quality has stayed the same. You still have to pay a lot for really high levels of quality, which is why commercial recording studios are still having the kit. But one of the things that hasn't changed over that time is the laws of physics, and that's kind of quite important to think about. And I guess once you start hearing from these students, they're not just artists; they're scientists, and they're kind of a really good mix of these two things. Another thing that's really changed about advances in music is distribution. So the ease of exposure to a market is incredible. I'm kind of quite old now, so you know, I can remember a life before there was an internet. I can remember a lot of years before there was an internet. And you know, back when if you wanted to record things and sell them, you really had to go to a record company and convince them that you were good enough to be able to do it. And the film market are now massive things. The games market in 2016 topped $101 billion, and that means it is a bigger market than both music and movies combined. So it's important to look towards things like games in terms of sound design. They're smaller, they're more powerful, they're smarter. They're now aimed at parts of the audience rather than just being a loud thing at one end of a room or one end of the field. There's way more control. There's for production technologies. So you just generally get a better audience sound. So for students and graduates who want to change the future landscape of sound and music, the kinds of things that they're learning about are, as well as production and recording, software development, hardware development, musical instrument development. But it's not just about that stuff. It's about how we live our lives. So we need graduates who understand the difference between sound and noise, how to stop traffic from invading our homes, how to design interiors where it's easy to hear a presentation or impossible to overhear a private conversation. So a science degree in sound can help students to understand all of those things and to empower graduates with a set of very employable skills. So that's probably a good cue to bring some students in. So I'm going to start by asking the question, and maybe we'll start with Dipali with this. How did you first get interested in music or sound? Did you do anything at school or college that helped you towards this?
So I'm probably the most unconventional. I've always been kind of playing guitar, and that was kind of it, and that was the interest. But during school, I did like GCSE music, but that was the extent. I went to A levels only doing media, English lit, and maths. Music was always kind of a side thing for me. It was always a passion, but I never put it forward. So that's kind of, it's always been my strong foot, but it's never been how I've educated myself in a way. And I kind of fell into it because I did love it so much. So I pursued and saw it and just kind of applied, thinking I could get it from all the extra stuff I did. So I actually did an after school music technology course on Saturdays for like a year. So I did like little things like that to try and get me going. But I always thought the music industry is very insecure. So I built my academic background rather than doing it in education.
Cool. Mia, what did you do when you were at school and college that helped you?
I'll hop on to what Dipali said. Quite, maybe not the most, well, in some ways conventional, in some ways not. I had like a formal classical training in music, sort of like getting my grades and stuff. I did my music at GCSE, but then carried that on for A level. I did music, English lit, maths, and art and design. Nice little mix.
Wow.
But like the music technology course was always something I wanted to do. It was always something that I wanted to get into, but I hadn't had any experience in any of the technologies involved in music, let alone music technology. Like that, no experience. But yeah, it was just something that I knew that I wanted to do. And since coming to uni, like from my first year, I was just sort of like blown away. I was like, okay, wow, didn't realise that this is what was going on. But yeah, I just sort of really like threw myself into it. I was like, if not now, then when. And yeah, now in final year, I don't know how that's really happened. And it's just sort of flown by really. And it's just crazy to think of like the position that I was in beforehand and now like where I am, and just sort of seeing like how far things have come really. It's pretty crazy.
I'm so surprised at your background because you're just like technology monster, you really sort of, so it's interesting. And what instrument did you play when you were coming through the day? Right, okay.
Yeah. I got up to grade 7, didn't quite get that 8, but I knew
that the rest of your life for that.
I knew that I wasn't a performer. Like that. That wasn't really where I wanted to go, and I was I looked at myself for like my position I was in A levels, and I was like, right, I've got some like avenues where I could take this. Like, what am I going to do? Like, what can I do for myself for the future? And I weighed up my options. I was like, hey, this sounds interesting. And I haven't looked back really. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Ian, tell us about your sort of journey to getting on the course then. What were you interested in before you came?
I would say that my journey started off very conventional and sort of took a slight turn and then went back. So I grew up with I have a very, I would say, extensive history of like music performance. Like I started learning instruments from like the age of 5. Like music was my life for like basically the whole of secondary school. It's in every like orchestra, every band, every choir if you think of, I was there. Wow. Yeah, I've done a few. I did my singing grade 8, did my bassoon grade 8. Like there was a time where I thought I was gonna probably apply to a conservatoire for performance. But I realized that I didn't enjoy performing as much as I did other elements of music, such as composition and producing. And I feel like I really found my love of composition during my music GCSE. And that escalated into my music A level as well. And yeah, so the A levels I took were music, physics, and maths, which I think are kind of like the perfect A levels for this course.
They're probably closest to the center.
Yeah.
but so few people are close to the centre of it.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Yeah. Well, I didn't know you were a bassoon player. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Wow. And James, what did you do before you got here? What sort of things were you interested in?
So I started really early on as well. Started playing trombone when I was in year 5, and then started getting involved with school concerts in secondary school. Started then helping set up. I'd rather help set up than just turn up for the rehearsal and then just turn up and play your one piece or whatever it is with that band. So it gave me something else to do. So I was stagehand and patch to start with. Later on, went up by year 11, I was helping set the whole thing up, as teachers had less time to go and do it themselves. I then went on tour to Italy with the Birmingham Wind Orchestra and played at other venues such as the Symphony Hall and the Adrian Boult Hall. Studied music at GCSE, went on to sixth form, and
You've all got a passion in sound or music or something that kind of got you this far. So
I think what sort of drew me to the course anyway, like sort of like considering future careers and that, I wanted to go into like studio work, production, you know, sort of like I feel like that's quite a shared ambition with a lot of the students that join the course, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know, like amazing like thing to do. There's quite a few people watching that might be interested in doing that. And yeah, it's a feasible route to take. But when I got on the course, and I mean, within like a few weeks when I'd started my first modules, I was like, hang on a minute, there's so much more I can do here. That, you know, there's so much more I can take with like this science degree and like, you know, really apply it to whatever sort of, you know, area that I wanted to go in. And like the modules did really like help me stay open-minded and not sort of like be like one-track minded and, you know, try and chase something down. But yeah, I mean, I think more than anything, I've really learned about myself and who I am over the past 3 years. And it's like each year my sort of like aspirations and goals, they did evolve, they really changed. Like I'd get onto a new module, I'd be like, oh, I like this, I'm going to do this. Oh wait, no. So yeah, I've really like been on quite a journey, but now I'm in my final year, you know, thinking about next steps and stuff, you know, like the serious things. Don't think I'm really ready for it yet, but I'm hoping to go into the audiology world. Main goal, I'd love to be a paediatric audiologist because I do part-time work with children with special needs, and yeah, I mean, I started learning about audiology in the modules, and that it was something that had never crossed my mind before, like never. I knew nothing about it, and then I was sitting in the lectures, I was like, hang on a minute, this is interesting. So yeah, and it's just sort of, it's somewhere I can see it going, and I can just take everything that I've, you know, learned on the course, and you know, everything from like the technology side of it to just like the general working ethic and stuff. You know, it's all good stuff really. It all sort of like is all nicely come together, and yeah, that's it really, I guess.
They're quite wide degrees, so you do learn a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Now, Dipali, you're currently not studying at the moment because you're out on a sort of placement year. So, but tell us about your career aspirations and maybe how your skills have changed over the time of your degree, because you're actually doing something now that you don't even learn on the degree.
Yeah, I don't. So, like Mia, I came into the course wanting to work in a studio, music production, because quite honestly, that's the one career that you actually know about when you're just doing music. So like, oh, you know, I was just a performer. So I thought, I don't want to be a musician though. Music production, that's the best way to go for it. And I was actually good at it. So that kind of settled me into the tech degree. But yeah, it's so broad that you find yourself not doing what's on the course. So yeah, I do live sound, and music technology doesn't teach you that. But the brilliance of both our courses is that you can actually do both if you wanted to, because it's down to the lecturers you've got and the resources. You guys are so open-minded and like supportive that I actually managed to do it all in my extra time. And
is that something that you've really continued with?
Yeah, so I started off performing and then decided that digital signal processing and how it all works behind the scenes. But yeah, the Live Sound Society, I got involved with that in year 1. And then year 2, I was vice president, and that summer we did a couple of festivals. So we did the Acoustic Festival of Britain, and we did Shrewsbury Folk Festival. Then I went straight into my placement. So my very first job with them was Birmingham City Football Players Awards, which was a massive job to be on for your first job with them. Went on and did other jobs with them for Litchfield, Proms in the Park, National Memorial Arboretum, lots of conferences, and then also started to learn about lighting and staging and other aspects that go along with live sound. And coming up, the placement company, they offered me a job when I graduate. Whether that's still there or not, I don't know, because of the way the live sound industry is at the moment.
Yep.
But they're still doing other things to streaming.
Yep.
So that's how technology is advancing with that at the moment. So this year I had a calendar full for this summer until middle of March, and then it was empty.
Yep.
So this summer I decided that I was going to do something else that is still linked in with live sound, because the equipment's got to get to the festival or to the venue. So I did my HGV Class 2 license over the summer.
Wow.
So I can drive for them now as well.
That's ready, because you've done this stuff for real.
Yeah.
A lot of time. Yeah, excellent. And Oyen, you're another person that's changed your aspirations a lot since you
become a producer and just work in studios, do some engineering, stuff like that. But the fact that this course opens you up to so many different avenues in terms of a career path, opened of my gap year that I did before uni, when I was working as a music teaching assistant at secondary school, and they sort of offered me a job after uni as a replacement for a maternity leave teacher for a while, for a couple months. So there's the opportunity for me to go into teaching if I wanted to as well. So I'm kind of thinking between the two, but the acoustics path, like, I never would have thought about it at all if it wasn't for the course. Like, I had no idea what acoustics was before the course, and learning about it on the course really opened my eyes to it, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah,
that's great. So yeah, I guess to all of you, what modules have particularly inspired you, or what members of staff, or maybe what they've done have particularly inspired you, just to think about something different? Maybe Dipali, can I ask you that?
Yeah. No, that's when you said about staff, that's the bit that kind of sticks with me. So the modules have all been great. Like, I've been quite good at all of them, which is nice to know.
You have.
But it's actually the lecturers that have really helped me out, and it was Roy Priest, which was the previous course leader, who actually helped me get into theatre. So it was the music and audio industries module that we do, and it basically goes through all the aspects of the industry. You have industry professionals that come in, and it's a really good module to have. And I was always in contact with Roy, and I'd always pick his brain about stuff. I was always quite annoying, but it's okay. And I told him I really like theatre, and I don't actually know what I want to do, but I love theatre, and I thought I like watching theatre. I didn't know I was going to go to live sound, but I was like, what can I do? I don't really. Let's see where this goes. And he actually got me in contact with the sound engineer at the Royal Shakespeare Company. And I ended up getting a day experience there. And and it was amazing. I fell in love with it from the start. I had a full tour. I actually got to use some of the kit. It was the best day, and I just decided then on I wanted to do live sound. So it was really down to Roy Priest for helping me out there. And then all my other skills have come from people such as yourself, Jason and Ben. Ben Witherill, he is a live sound genius. And he's kind of taken me under his wing in the past year, and I've helped shadow him, and he's actually come to my gigs and helped me out, and he's really mentored me, and that's how I've learnt live sound. So I didn't need the module, I kind of just had the module leader of that come help me out when I needed.
Yeah, I think staff really make a degree, and I guess I can tell you this from under the hood a little bit, that when we have an idea for a module, it's only an idea until a member of staff takes it on and turns it into reality and turns it into sort of something. And it's generally as much about the person. Once we've got some learning, once we've got some learning sort of outputs and things like that. James, who inspires you?
Ben Wetherill, because he just knows about everything. You can talk to him about anything and he's got something to add to the conversation, whether it's networking, live sound, game audio, studio work. He's got his hand in all of it, and in most of it he's at the top of the game a bit as well.
Yep. Yeah, he's pretty good. That's excellent. I'm gonna flip on to the next question to ask Mia and Oyen about this. What's so good about having a conservatoire?
Okay, so I didn't know what a conservatoire was, and it's brilliant, and it's so important and valuable for us, because when we're working in there doing our lessons and our labs for uni, you can get in contact with some really amazing people, musicians, composers, actors, technicians. Yeah, the opportunities are just crazy, really. Yeah.
Oyen, what's your view on all this?
Yeah, I
it seems you might have nearly gone to conservatoire as well. So.
Yeah, I agree exactly with what Mia said. I think one of the really good parts about studying this course alongside there being a conservatoire is the fact that whenever you need a good musician to record or to do something for you, they're literally right there. You can just go into a practice, knock on a practice room if you see someone practicing, being like, "Hi, you sound really good. Can I record you?" And literally just take them into a recording studio. And it's just so helpful, because the fact that there's lots of different concert venues within the conservatoire as well. There's the East Side Jazz Club, got the Bradshaw Hall, the Recital Hall, the Lab, the Organ Studio. Means that there's lots of different concerts that we can also, if we ask, we can help out in terms of miking, live sound for that, or just recording it for our use to mix it later. Meaning you get to record lots of great performances from internal students and also from visiting performers as well, which is just a great experience to have. So yeah.
So is it actually that? I've heard people say this before. Or you just go and knock on a door and just there'll be someone rehearsing.
Literally,
yes. Actually that
easy. I remember that's how we got our in first year, when we had to go get a jazz group to record for next week. We were literally just walking around conservatoire looking for someone who was performing and be like, "Hi, are you free to record next week?" That was literally how we got them to come and perform for us.
Because I've got a really good friend who owns one of the best recording studios in Glasgow, and he always used to say one of the problems with engineer demos that he would hear is there'll be kind of good recordings of terrible musicians, and it's always a thing that lets down, the overall performance. But when you're going to start off with a world-class musician, and then what you're going to do on top of that is use a world-class studio, and hopefully somewhere near approaching world-class skills to do it, you've kind of got it firing on all cylinders, really, to make that happen. So just a quick round robin on this. What's the coolest thing that you've recorded so far? Oyen?
The coolest thing I've recorded, I would say I really enjoyed recording the Ellington Orchestra at the Conservatoire last year.
I said to you that it might be a recording or it might be a band that you've mixed as well live, as you're on the live sound
I
as well.
did some broadcasts for June Sparpong and Lenny Henry. That was in the Conservatoire, so that was really good.
Yeah, nice. So you've all had to work up at that kind of professional level to make this happen. Right. What extracurricular things have you done whilst at university? It could be to do with the course. It could be sports or hobbies. Just anything that you feel has helped you to grow as a person. Dipali?
Yeah, sure. So extracurricular is something I do a lot. So actually last year I ran the Rock Climbing Society as vice president. It's a big sport for me and I love it so much. It's something I need. So after a hard day at uni, you as a lecturer telling us we're doing bad, I need to go cool off.
I tell you you're doing bad.
I need to go cool off and climb some rocks. That's kind of one of the biggest things I do.
Have you always done that then? Like before you got to uni?
So a little bit. So I kind of got into it when I was about 10. My dad used to take me every Saturday, and then where we used to climb, it was actually I used to live in Australia. So when we moved back, we didn't have a climbing place nearby, so I stopped for a long time. So from when I was about 13, I stopped, and then found out VCU had a rock climbing society. So I was like joining that. Been in it for 2 years. It's been great.
But it's great that you led it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so. Do you find that leadership skills or something like that are going to be useful for your future?
Yeah, definitely. Even though we're in music, and everyone kind of sometimes assumes that we're like independent and we like do our own thing. No, you need leadership. And you need to be able to organise yourself. And the fact that I was not only balancing my uni life with a society and actually running it, that made me have time management skills, and I was able to, fluctuate between the two and having a part-time job. And then also within it, I'm meeting people, and you end up actually finding musicians and having that network and having a bit of fun and just having the organisational skills to actually train people and be friends with them and know when to do things at the correct time.
Excellent. Mia, what have you done?
Well, I've sort of societies. I didn't join any. There's plenty of stuff about, but there wasn't really anything that was for me. So I took a different route. For the whole time I've been at uni, I've been volunteering with a really great company called Action, and they provide weekly sessions to help underprivileged kids in schools. So 1 hour of my week each week, I go and help a group of children, and so then through that volunteering experience that I got with Action, I actually got a job through university, and I work with the literacy tutoring team from Birmingham City University, and we go out to schools, and it is what the name is. We tutor literacy and try and get literacy skills up for kids who have lower reading ages than they should do, to sort of help their development. And with that, I've worked. It's an opportunity that you wouldn't really get the chance to do without loads of qualifications behind you. So it really just threw me out there. And I've been able to work with children who are on the ASD spectrum, who have ADHD, and all such a variety of challenge. I've got all this impressive stuff from uni, I can use this technology, but then I've also got hey, I can put this into practice and I can work with people well. I've sort of decided to take the sort of professional development route in my spare time for extracurricular stuff. So that's me.
Wow, hidden depths. Oyen, now you play quite a bit of sport as well as other extracurricular things. So tell us about the things that you do.
I play for the women's football team at the university. I've been playing for them since first year. I joined just because I really enjoyed playing football in primary school and secondary school, and I kind of stopped around GCSE and A-level time. So I knew once I got to uni, I wanted to pick it back up, and I thought that was the perfect opportunity to do so. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it. You have weekly training sessions, you get to bond with all the other girls, and it's just great. Yeah, so along with that, I'm a member of the Afro-Caribbean Society at the uni as well. And that's great in terms of meeting new people as well. They, before the pandemic, we used to have lots of meet and greet events, games nights, other events where you could just meet other people. You get to learn about other people's cultures as well. And yeah, in terms of other extracurricular stuff, oh yeah, so our course I feel like is very special in terms of the fact that we have special interest groups as well. So I'm part of the acoustic special interest group that runs weekly, and we have like virtual online sessions. Some people from industry will come and sometimes do presentations for us in terms of what they do in their job roles, and then we have really interesting sessions with lots of people coming in, and there's lots of special interest groups for other aspects of music and sound, not just acoustic. So there's a research group, there's an electronics group, I think there's a live sound one as well. It's all really cool and really interesting. You can just turn up to whichever one you want to, like, you're interested in, and just attend the sessions. It's great. Yeah,
cool. No, you're right, it is unique. As far as we know, no one else does it. Because it's the thing that we kind of invented this year, and it seems to be going quite well. And actually, I was going to move on to ask James, because he's had a lot to do with the extracurricular Live Sound Society, but I'm sure you're also involved in the special interest group as well, and they're probably a little bit molded into one, but maybe not. But what sort of things have you done extracurricular, James?
I've got quite a long list, actually. Special interest groups wise, at the moment we're teaching the first years. So myself and another lad, we're teaching those that maybe haven't come from a live background and want to get involved in it, or they doing the music technology course which hasn't got the live sound aspect to it. So they can still get involved, and we're teaching them that. The Live Sound Society, as I mentioned earlier, I was heavily involved with that year too, with helping run it. Outside of university, I play flat green bowls. So I'm in the under 25 and the senior county Warwickshire squad. So I do that during the summer. More teaching I do is ballroom and Latin dancing. So I've danced since the age of 4, and now I help teach and run the school, and I do admin stuff for that. I run their website as well as 2 other websites that I've run, and other stuff I like doing is DIY. I love trying to make things work, fixing things. It doesn't always mean that they're fixed afterwards or that they work, but I like trying to make it work.
That's an impressive range of skill. I do remember you talking about Latin and ballroom dancing before, and that's become like so trendy and popular now. That is that annoying, because like now everyone thinks they know about it, whereas you're probably the only person that was into it for ages that you knew, or do you just know lots of people that do that stuff?
I know lots of people that do it, but only through the dance school.
Yeah.
When you get talking to people, sometimes they've done a bit at school when they were younger, or their mom and dad sent them to a class at some point. But normally it's not that many people you talk to that know anything about it. Obviously, they've all watched Strictly at some point on the TV. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're getting close to summing this whole thing up. It's been a great chat for me. I found out so much about you, and it's just, from my point of view, it's been a pleasure to teach all of you. I hope you know that. So I'd just like you to sum it up. So why BCU? Why or how has it worked out for you? Mia, do you wanna go for that one?
I sure can go for that one. Pretty much like what I said before, like just like the broad spectrum of everything that you get introduced to. Stuff that so many things and like aspects of like the music industry that never even crossed my mind before. I didn't know they existed, and it's just the opportunities that you've got, like the facilities are top notch, a range of technologies, softwares you get to use, and get really like build your expertise in. Such great stuff to like then take on with you after uni. It just compare. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but compared to like other unis and that, like.
Oh, you can if you want.
I just feel like it's. I think it's to do with like the science. It's a science degree. There's it. I don't want to say trains you, but it gets you like really involved in the experience of so many different aspects and so many practical elements that you can then take, and whatever avenue you decide to go down, there's bound to be something from this course that you can take with you and really like apply in your careers and stuff. Yeah, just the opportunities, so many stuff you can do. Like the modules I'm doing now, we're doing new interfaces for musical expression, and that is blowing my mind. Like it is unreal, like the amount of stuff that's out there and like the possibilities for the technology. It's just great. It's really inspiring. Yeah,
it's just another great lecturer as well in Niccolo, who's a PhD in that area. James, why BCU?
For me, it's the facilities, the amount of equipment and the amount of spaces that are available to use, both in the main university and in the conservatoire. So you've got both sections that you can go to, and the level of the technology there. So all the equipment is basically brand new. We've just had a new desk in, which I can't mention the name of it yet, but you got the chance to use that before the rest of the industry is, and giving feedback on how that could be improved, and learning about networking as well. So networking was something that I never thought I would be doing, but as I've moved up in the world of live sound, I've realized that networking is a large area of the live sound industry, and that instead of having hundreds of cables running, you just have one and all your sound goes down there. But obviously using a computer, you have to tell it where to go.
Yeah, so that's great that you've got these skills, because immediately you're at the level that you understand the technologies of some of the biggest gigs in the world, because you're working on that sort of stuff. Dipali, why BCU for you?
So, without knowing what the degree held, I chose BCU because it's so broad, like what Mia said. And actually sitting now and reflecting, I owe everything to the fact it's so broad, because I think one of the biggest stereotypes right now is that the music industry is dying with COVID-19. And, a lot of people have lost their jobs, and it is quite frightening, but people shouldn't be so worried, as courses like ours are actually training us new kids who are going into the industry so well that we can jump between careers. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm freelancing, and I owe it to BCU. I wouldn't be able to be where I am without that degree and without the lecturers helping me. I've now managed to get virtual theatre shows, and I'm now software developing as well. Like, I'm doing coding and theatre at the same time, and it's like I owe a lot to it, and that's why I chose it. It's really helped me have the skill sets for anything.
That's great. And Oyen, how about you? Why BCU for you?
Yeah, I have to agree with what everyone said so far. Like, I remember initially applying for the course and looking like on the website and stuff and seeing all the facilities and thinking like, wow, this is great. And also seeing the like range of stuff that I would be able to learn, and like Dee said, like the fact that it's so broad, you learn so many different things that I wasn't expecting to be taught at all on the course, and it's just broadened my horizons completely. As I said before, I'm now pursuing a career in something I had no idea existed before I started this course. But I would say that the main thing that I really do love about this course is the fact that the lecturers are open to listen to your feedback and to change and adapt depending on what you tell them. It's not like you say, oh, I have a problem with this, and they brush it off and never talk about it again. They want to hear your feedback because they want to improve the course and the experience for new generations of students. And you can tell they genuinely care and want to give the best experience to the students that they can. And that's just something that I feel like you won't experience at most other unis. It's just a really good feeling to know that your lecturers actually care about your education and want you to get the best grade that you can. So yeah.
I'm really glad that comes across, because it is something that as a teaching team that we're really passionate about. You know, it has to go both ways for it to work. And apart from that, I'd just like to offer a massive vote of thanks to all four of you. It's been a really nice sort of time to find out what you're up to. I hope it's really been inspiring for people who are watching at home. Thanks very much to everyone that tuned in from us. Thanks very much and good night.